आपका सोल प्रोप्राइटरशिप, आपका एलएलपी, आपका पार्टनरशिप फर्म, आपका ओपीसी cannot go to international recognition. Of course, there are some startups which are sole proprietorship. बहुत सारे ऐसे ब्रांड लोग हैं जो खुद का एक ब्रांड क्रिएट करते हैं. But if you need a international recognition on an easier note, your private limited company is generally accepted internationally. Generally, I'm telling. Okay. A private limited is registered under the Companies Act 2013. A company is an artificial person created by law. Now, जैसे पार्टनरशिप फर्म पार्टनरशिप एक्ट के अंडर रजिस्टर होती है, एलएलपी अंडर एलएलपी एक्ट. सो अ प्राइवेट लिमिटेड कंपनी is incorporated under Companies Act 2013. It's an artificial person, just like LLP, just like your other entities. It's a different person. It is not related. Of course, it is related with the directors only, but it is a different person. बहुत बार आपने इकोनॉमिक टाइम्स में ऐसे पढ़ा होगा कि जो, फॉर एग्जांपल एप्पल, in Apple, the owner of the company was itself removed. Steve Jobs was also removed from his company, but of course वो अलग से है. अब अभी इकोनॉमिक टाइम्स में you can always read to it that the starting founder of the company was also removed from the company. Okay, so it's an अलग से है. वो फाउंडर ने प्राइवेट लिमिटेड अगर शुरू भी किया होगा, पर उसकी वो एंटिटी नहीं है, वो एक अलग एंटिटी है. And of course, he might be running it for the first few years, but later on, when the funders come and the venture capitalists come and the other people come, they also can take over the company. Of course, that's a different topic to discuss on. The directors, it's not a human being it acts through, but through his directors and shareholders. Just like we discussed, through its shareholders and directors, वो company चलती है और वो चलाई जाती है. Directors are different, shareholders are different. Shareholders are the real owners of the company. Directors are the people who run the company. It is considered as a legal person who can enter into contracts, possess properties in its own name. तो एक अलग आर्टिफिशियल पर्सन है, सो वो कॉन्ट्रैक्ट में एंटर कर सकता है, वो प्रॉपर्टीज ओन कर सकता है, वो बिजनेस खुद से कर सकता है. मिनिमम 2, मैक्सिमम 15 डायरेक्टर्स एंड मैक्सिमम 200 शेयर. So let's look at the advantages of the partnership, private limited firm. Corporate personality and company as a person. See, आप जब बैंक में लोन लेने जाओगे, पार्टनरशिप फर्म 2-3 पार्टनर जाएंगे. एक पार्टनरशिप जो बंदा है वो खुद से जाएगा. एक जो एलएलपी है वो we will go with the get my battery back. Yeah, sorry. So पार्टनर जो प्राइवेट लिमिटेड फर्म है वो एक अलग एंटिटी है. वो खुद से बैंक में जा सकती है और बोल सकती है कि लोग बॉस, मेरा टर्नओवर है 1 CR. ओके, मेरा बड़ा पाव की स्टॉल. लेट्स कंटिन्यू विद द सेम एग्जांपल. स्टिल इट्स रेनिंग आउटसाइड. सो मेरी बड़ा पाव की गाड़ी है. इन माय फर्स्ट ईयर आई मेड अ टर्नओवर ऑफ 1 CR. In my second year, I made a turnover of 3 CR. In my third year, I made a turnover of 6 CR. Okay. I want to establish a chain of franchisees, which I'm giving it to the franchisee owners, and I want to distribute them franchises. So for that, of course, if you are following different types of franchises होती है. So if you are following a franchisee where I will install all their infrastructure. कि कैफे में इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर कैसा होना चाहिए. कुछ कैफे ऐसे हार्ले डेविडसन वैसे वाले थीम रखते हैं कि बाइकर वाली थीम. तो ऐसे अगर मेरी थीम है तो आई वांट टू इंस्टॉल ऑल द इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर ओवर देयर. सो आई एम incorporating like 5 franchises in Pune. I'm incorporating 5 franchises in Mumbai. I need 10 franchisees. पर फ्रेंचाइजी का इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर बनाने का, इंटीरियर बनाने का कॉस्ट 10 लाख है. ओके, so I need 10 lakh into 10, 1 CR. 1 CR of amount मुझे चाहिए. Okay, so I'll go to the bank. I'll tell them 1 CR मेरा turnover first year, 2 second year में, third year में इतना मुझे 1 CR का लोन चाहिए. The banks of course will ask for my personal details also, but they will be more inclined to look into details of my private limited company. तो वो एक अलग से पर्सनैलिटी है जो खुद से आपके प्रॉफिट में आपका फंडिंग और आपके कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स, आपके अदर रिक्वायरमेंट्स फुलफिल करेगा. सो अगर प्राइवेट लिमिटेड कंपनी मेरी इतनी बड़ी है, 6 CR का मेरा टर्नओवर है, सो पीपल आल्सो वुड बी इंटरेस्टेड इनटू getting their advertised done in maybe my cafe. Of course, तो आपका नाम, आपका पार्टनरशिप का नाम बड़ा होना चाहिए, सो वो एक डिफरेंट एंटिटी हम बन सकते हैं, बना सकते हैं. Limited liability, of course, the liability is limited to your share capital. Uh, the same disadvantage of a partnership firm is an advantage over here. Perpetual succession. Agar, for example, if you discontinue your business in a sole proprietorship, then it will stop. But private limited company is owned by the shareholders and the directors. So even if you retire from it, I retire from this cafe business, my other partners and my other shareholders will run the company. Good funding opportunities, as I explained in the first point. आपके प्राइवेट लिमिटेड फर्म का हिस्ट्री देखा जाएगा, and that history will of course give you an edge over other entities when you go with the banks for their debt funding and funding opportunities. No minimum capital requirement. Earlier, as per Companies Act 2013, there was a minimum capital requirement of 1 lakh rupees. So that is been removed, and you can start your business with 5,000 also. You can start your private limited with a 5,000 also. Credibility in the minds of debtors, creditors, and external stakeholders. See, internationally, private limited is very well recognized as a business entity. Okay, so private limited India में भी है और other nations में भी actively involved है. So जब आपके पास कोई फॉरेन फंडर होगा जो आपको अगर कोई फंडिंग आपके बिजनेस में चलाना चाहते हैं, फॉर एग्जांपल मेरा ही कैफे का एग्जांपल ले लेते हैं. If the foreign funder from USA thinks that yes, your cafe is equivalent to McDonald's and you can be the next McD. Okay, so think on it. और यूएस वाला बंदा जो आपका सोच रहा है कि आप नेक्स्ट मैकडी बन सकते हैं एंड यू कैन एक्सटेंड टू लाइक 1000 branches all over India, 2000, 5000 branches all over India. So he wants to invest in your company. So if you have a private limited company, there is a credibility edge as compared to the other entities, and that person will also be like वो कहेगा कि yes, इसकी भाई की private limited company है, so yes, it is relatively reliable over there to invest. So he will be effectively more keen to invest in your private limited company rather than आपका एक sole proprietorship business है. Because आप sole proprietor छोड़ के जाओगे तो business बंद हो जाएगा, पर private limited company ऐसे तो बंद होने से नहीं. So he thinks that yes, if a private limited company is there, it is more advantageous. There are some disadvantages also. Restriction in transfer of shares. Of course, there is a restriction of transfer of shares. There needs to, you need to follow some procedure if your shareholding needs to be transferred to any other person. Members limited to 200. Yes, members are limited to 200 in a private limited company. But of course, when you have a company closing to 200, people convert it into a public limited or they go for another entity or something like that. Difficulty in withdrawing of profits. See, this can be an advantage also and a disadvantage also. As रिजर्व्स एंड सरप्लस क्रिएट किया जाता है प्राइवेट लिमिटेड कंपनी में, जो आपको आपके नेक्स्ट प्रोजेक्ट में फंड भी कर सकता है. तो इंस्टेंटली विड्रॉ, मेरे 1 CR प्रॉफिट हो गया, 40 लाख मेरा 1 CR सॉरी टर्नओवर हो गया, मेरा प्रॉफिट 40 CR हो गया फ्रॉम माय कैफे इन माय फर्स्ट ईयर. इफ आई विड्रॉ 20 लाख फ्रॉम इट, बचा ही क्या होगा अगर मेरे को एक नया वाला फ्रेंचाइजी देना होगा और उसमें 10 लाख रुपए का इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर क्रिएट करना होगा. तो आई हैव टू कीप सम मनी इन माय कंपनी फॉर अगर 10 लाख रुपया मुझे नेक्स्ट फ्रेंचाइजी को लग रहा है, एंड इफ आई विड्रॉ ऑल द प्रॉफिट्स, फ्रॉम वेयर विल आई डू द इंटीरियर एंड इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर वर्क. So in a private limited company, you keep your 40 lakhs into it and you open 4 new franchises and earn greater profits. So yes, this can be a disadvantage and can be a advantage also in your thinking of you doing a business. Higher compliance cost as compared to the other entities, the compliance cost is relatively higher, but not that much. If you're earning good profits, then that is a minimal point to consider. सी प्राइवेट लिमिटेड कंपनी और स्टार्टअप्स का एक बेजोड़ नाता क्यों है? क्योंकि आपने जो भी कुछ नाम सुने हैं, सभी यूनिकॉर्न्स या फिर सभी स्टार्टअप्स, सभी बिग स्टार्टअप्स, स्मॉल स्टार्टअप्स, वो सब प्राइवेट लिमिटेड कंपनीज है. So yes, that can be an advantage if you have a private limited company as a startup, as there are many advantages as to getting funding, getting recognized. आपको अगर एक आपका इन वन लाइनर आपको बता दूं, तो आपको अगर एक आपका ब्रांड क्रिएट करने का है, आपको बिजनेस आपका बड़ा करना है, यू नीड अ प्राइवेट लिमिटेड कंपनी ओनली. Let's get to the public limited company. Public limited company as an extended version of a private limited company. Okay, so it's like बड़ा भाई, प्राइवेट लिमिटेड का एक बड़ा भाई पब्लिक लिमिटेड होता है. जब भी प्राइवेट लिमिटेड कंपनी आपकी स्ट्रेच हो जाती है, आप एक लिमिटेशन फेस करने लगते हो, so these generally a private limited company is converted into a public limited or a new public limited is formed in any other case. So public limited company is an extended version of a private limited company where companies can borrow funds from common public, and generally such company works at a higher level. So अब पब्लिक लिमिटेड में क्या होता है, आप अपने फंड्स जो इन नॉर्मल अदर एंटिटीज विच यू बोरो इट फ्रॉम योर फ्रेंड्स, योर फैमिलीज और बैंक्स और अदर इंस्टीट्यूशंस, इन अ प्राइवेट लिमिटेड कंपनी यू बोरो फंड्स फ्रॉम डायरेक्टली फ्रॉम कॉमन पब्लिक. जैसे आपने सभी ने सुना होगा आईपीओ, इनिशियल पब्लिक ऑफर. आईपीओ आता है तब कंपनी क्या करती है, आपसे पैसा मांगती है और आपको बोलती है कि यस योर फंड्स विल बी इन्वेस्टेड इनटू ग्रोइंग द कंपनी, एंड आपको जो प्रॉफिट्स है उसका आपका हिस्सा वो डिविडेंड्स से आपको लौटा देगा, और आपके शेयर्स का एप्रिसिएशन हो ही रहा है. सो thus it is also registered under Companies Act. Okay, this is also registered under Companies Act 2013, where like a private limited company, it is registered under Companies Act only. The public company is a company owned by public. Okay, a company that is owned by its stockholders who are members of general public, and they are also traded publicly. So this is a public limited company which is not ownership एक single आदमी का नहीं होता है. इसमें publicly involved होती है, public का पैसा involved होता है. So you the shareholders are the owners of the company. For example, एक recent example लेता हूँ, LIC का IPO आया था. इन बहुत जनों ने इन्वेस्ट भी किया होगा, बहुत जनों ने अप्लाई भी किया होगा, किसी को मिला होगा, किसी को नहीं मिला होगा. Of course, the share price of the LIC share has fallen from that day. But of course, it's a big company. It's a long-term bet which everyone should think of. It's not a short-term bet of 1 year or 2 years. It's a long-term bet, and you can easily invest into that company and trade into it. So now, LIC कंपनी के ओनर जो है वो सभी आप शेयर होल्डर्स को, ना कि LIC के डायरेक्टर्स, ना कि LIC के फंडर्स. So you all are the small owners of LIC if you have subscribed to their shares. So in this minimum 3 directors we need and maximum 15 directors, and no such maximum limit of shareholders into it. Following are the advantages of the public limited company. Raising capital through public issue of shares. So this is the biggest advantage which a public limited company goes for, is like you can raise money from public. You do not need to go to banks. You do not need to go to venture capitalists. You can straight away borrow funds from public. Public ने आपका शेयर सब्सक्राइब कर दिए, आपको पैसा दे दिया, आप वो पैसा आपके बिजनेस एक्सपेंशन में यूज इजीली कर सकते हो. So that is the biggest advantage which a public limited has. Borrowing from the public, easy money. Not easy money we can say, but yes, the public, if your business is good, you are doing good business and you are earning continuous consistent profits, then public are willing to buy your shares and public is willing to give you money for further expansion. Growth and expansion opportunities are unlimited, as public से जितना पैसा आप ले सकते हो उतना पैसा आप business में लगाओ, and the growth and expansion opportunities as you have received your public money is unlimited. You can grow unlimited. रिलायंस का आपने गुरु पिक्चर अभिषेक बच्चन का देखा होगा, उसमें they have enacted what Dhirubhai Ambani has done. Dhirubhai Ambani in his one of his meeting he has taken in Wankhede Stadium. So स्टेडियम में इतना शेयर होल्डर जमा हो गया कि उनको स्टेडियम बुक करना पड़ा एक मीटिंग के. सो इफ सच लव यू आर गेटिंग फ्रॉम योर shareholders, then your opportunities and expansion is unlimited. Like we have seen Reliance grow like anything from its IPO. परपेचुअल सक्सेशन है, शेयर होल्डर्स का पैसा है, आप खुद एक कंपनी के ओनर नहीं है, शेयर होल्डर्स ओनर है, तो सक्सेशन परपेचुअल है, एंड लायबिलिटीज भी आपके लिमिटेड है शेयर होल्डर्स की, लिमिटेड टू द शेयर होल्डिंग ओनली. अनलिमिटेड फंडिंग अपॉर्चुनिटीज है, पब्लिक से पैसा इशू कर रहे हैं तो बैंक्स भी ऑल्सो are thinking that if you are raising money and public is giving you money, then why not? Okay, right? So if somebody पब्लिक आप पे विश्वास रखते है तो बैंक भी ऑफ कोर्स आपको पैसा देने के लिए हिचकिचाएगी नहीं. दे वुड आल्सो बी फ्री हैंड टू गिव यू फंडिंग अपॉर्चुनिटी. Freely transferable shares. Now publicly traded shares are freely transferable. आप बहुत जनों का जीरोदा, अपस्टॉक्स, ग्रो इसमें अकाउंट होगा ही definitely. I know that because these days investments have become popular, which is a good thing. सबको शुरुआत से इन्वेस्ट करना चाहिए. It's a differently whole together a 1 hour 2 hour topic, so I won't go into that. But your shares in your freelance का शेयर आपने 2 ले लिए तो आपने आज ले लिए, आपका डिलीवरी लेने का टाइम T+1 है, सो आपने वो ले लिया एंड आप 10 दिन में वो ट्रांसफर भी कर सकते हैं, आप बेच भी सकते हैं एंड योर शेयर्स आर इजीली ट्रांसफर. Then comes the maintains the brand position. See, a public limited company is a company which is a big brother of a private limited company. It can be listed on a stock exchange like NSE, PSE. Some Indian companies are also listed in Nasdaq, like US stock exchange may be listed like Tata Motors, Infosys, Reliance are listed in other nations stock market also. So it always commands a brand position if you have a public limited company. So disadvantages क्या है? Disadvantages lack of flexibility and secrecy. It's a public limited company, public की है, तो आप जो भी पैसा कमाओगे, जो भी प्रॉफिट्स कमाओगे, वो सबको पता चलेगा and it's publicly available in MCA portal and other portals also. Suitability for large businesses only. Of course, public limited का चलाना, public से पैसा लेना और वो run करना, ये not that easy, right? So it's very difficult to run a public limited company. So when your business is like aged enough, when your business has taken a certain level now through which you need to expand, you then only form a public limited company. इसका कंप्लायंस कॉस्ट काफी हाई है क्योंकि ये सब पब्लिक का पैसा, उसका कंप्लायंस मेंटेन करने के लिए सेबी हैज गिवन मेनी गाइडलाइंस, अदर एक्ट्स हैव गिवन मेनी गाइडलाइंस, कंपनीज एक्ट हैव गिवन मेनी गाइडलाइंस, सो कंप्लायंस कॉस्ट काफी हाई है पब्लिक लिमिटेड कंपनी. मोर स्ट्रिंजेंट रेगुलेशंस. नाउ जैसे आप पब्लिक का पैसा ले रहे हो तो आपका your company is under strict eye of government and other authorities, which especially government has developed to look into the matters of a public limited company, like Securities Board, SEBI. SEBI is specifically incorporated to keep a check on the transactions of a public limited company which are traded on stock exchanges. So they have strict norms, they have to follow strict guidelines, they have to follow strict due dates, compliances and everything. So the regulations are very strict. You cannot mess up in a public limited company. चलो देखते हैं, शुरू करते हैं, public limited company form करके देखते हैं, ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए. You should have a well-run, well-oiled business running for few years, and then only you can go with a public limited company. So business sustainability. What is business sustainability? So we are end with the 6 types of business registrations. We will wind up in a few 10-15 minutes. But let's just, before winding up, I want to give some ideas about why businesses fail. आपको startup तो शुरू करना आता है. We have given the information about how many startups are there, how you can register, and the advantages and disadvantages. But what is business sustainability? So business sustainability is often defined as a process by which firms manage their financial, social, and environmental risks and obligations and opportunities. Business sustainability ये है, और एक other definition उसकी है कि business sustainability is how can you sustain into a business at a certain level and a certain space. So for example, मेरा cafe का ही example ले लेते हैं. For example, I have earned a sales of 1 CR in first year. I have earned a sales of 3 CR, and a third year I have earned a sales of 6 CR. So कैसे I am climbing up the turnover basis. अगर first year में 1 CR हो गया, next year में 20 lakhs हो गए, और third year में 50 lakhs हो गए, और fourth year में 10 CR हो गया. So this is like a uneven graph which you get basically. So this graph should be always climbing higher, 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 higher. ऐसे climb होना चाहिए. Of course, difficult times comes in every businesses, like COVID. In COVID, cafes were shut down totally, right? In first 2 lockdowns or something like that. So in that, no sales happened in any cafe. but of course that is an unprecedented or a worldwide event. But in normal scenarios, in normal businesses, you need to climb higher and higher in your businesses. But that there are some reasons why this fluctuation happens or why startups fail. Of course, this single slide can be a lecture of 1 to 2 hours, but of course, I'll briefly explain it and we'll go ahead. So absence of robust business idea and absence of planning. इन मेरी दूसरी स्लाइड में मैंने बताया था कि आपको रिसर्च करने का है, आपको आइडिया पे आप रिसर्च करके आपको प्लानिंग करने का है. बिजनेस शुरू करने से पहले देयर शुड बी अ हार्डकोर प्लानिंग सेशंस व्हिच यू नीड टू सिट विद योर पार्टनर्स, योर प्रोफेशनल्स एंड अदर आपको जो एडवाइस दे रहे हैं उनके साथ. सो आपका बिजनेस प्लान एकदम परफेक्ट होना चाहिए. इट्स लाइक स्टेप 1 आई एम डूइंग दिस, स्टेप 2 आई एम डूइंग दिस, स्टेप 3, स्टेप 4, स्टेप 5, स्टेप 10. स्टेप 11 में मेरा प्रॉफिट आएगा. Of course, I'll start with step 1 again if I run into a wall or run into a problem. तो आपका business case, business planning एकदम robust होना चाहिए and there should be no error kept in. If you fail to plan, you fail to run the business, as we say. So planning perfect करो. Second is financial risk management. This is the biggest topic. This is it can run into hours if we discuss for financial risk management. बट एक सिंपल एक एग्जांपल आपको बताता हूँ जो जनरली कोर प्रोफेशनल्स लाइक CSAs डोंट टेल. आई वांट टू स्टार्ट 10 फ्रेंचाइजीज. आई रिक्वायर 10 लाख रुपीज. सेम एग्जांपल वी आर डिस्कस अर्लियर. 10 लाख रुपीज मुझे 1 CR का रिक्वायरमेंट है. ओके, इफ आई बोरो 5 CR और 2 CR और 3 CR फ्रॉम बैंक, इफ माय रिक्वायरमेंट इज 1 CR ओनली, दैट इज आल्सो फाइनेंशियल मिसमैनेजमेंट. जस्ट लाइक इफ यू हैव 1 CR का आपका एक्सपेंस है, आपने 50 लाख की बोरो किए, तो दैट विल बी आल्सो फाइनेंशियल मिसमैनेजमेंट. बट ओवर फंडिंग, ओवर बोरोइंग लीड्स टू मेनी बिजनेस फेलियर्स इन मेनी स्टार्टअप्स. आपको जितना चाहिए उतना ही बोरो करना चाहिए एंड देन यू कैन रन योर बिजनेस इजीली. सो देयर आर मेनी एग्जांपल्स ऑफ फाइनेंशियल मिसमैनेजमेंट, बट यस, वन ऑफ द मेन रीजन ऑफ स्टार्टअप फेलियर इज फाइनेंशियल मिसमैनेजमेंट. थर्ड इज वीक बिजनेस मैनेजमेंट एंड सिस्टम कंट्रोल्स. आपने पार्टनर्स में क्लैश हो गया, मुझे वड़ा पाव कंटिन्यू करना है और मेरे पार्टनर को सैंडविच रखना है. सो यस, दैट कैन बी वीक बिजनेस मैनेजमेंट. आपको सिस्टम्स होने चाहिए आपके बिजनेस में कि स्टेप 1 के बाद स्टेप 2 करेंगे, स्टेप 2 के बाद स्टेप 3 करेंगे. दीज आर सिस्टम्स विच यू फॉलो. यू कैन नॉट जंप फ्रॉम स्टेप 1 टू स्टेप 3. ओके, रॉ मटेरियल ला दिया और आपने डायरेक्ट मार्केटिंग करना शुरू कर दिया. ऑफ कोर्स नो, इट्स लाइक यू हैव टू फर्स्ट टेस्ट रन योर बिजनेस. बड़ा पाव बना रहे हो, उसमें चीज डाले हो, वो चीज अच्छी तरह से मेल्ट हो रहा है या नहीं हो रहा है, आपको इस स्टेप 2 में देखने का है. यू कैन नॉट स्टार्ट डायरेक्टली द बिजनेस. सो सिस्टम्स होने चाहिए और सिस्टम्स के साथ ही आपको चलना चाहिए. Operations and marketing mishaps. Okay, these are common in many startups where people ill market their products. They are not able to market them perfectly. They are not able to run their operations perfectly. वड़ा पाव की गाड़ी है, बाहर बारिश हो रही है, आज शाम को वड़ा पाव का स्टॉल नहीं लगाओगे, then that would be a mess in operations, right? That would be a biggest failure of your business. आज अगर वड़ा पाव की गाड़ी शाम को बारिश में भी नहीं लगाओगे, तो that would be a failure to you. Correct? Marketing mishaps. There are many marketing mishaps people do, startups do. So it's a whole new topic afterwards. Funding. So let's just, so we have till 1 PM, right? So let's just wrap this funding thing.
Sure, sir. We can take 5 to 10 minutes. Just 5 minutes questions also.
No problem, no problem. We'll wrap up. So most awaited slide of this session can be, we can say, funding is a two-bladed sword. It can be an advantage or disadvantage. And as we discussed, low funding is also a disadvantage. Excess funding can be also a disadvantage. So, but if funding rightly done, it can help your business to run soar new heights, to expand your business at a maximum pace. आपको फंडिंग अगर राइट मिल गया तो यू कैन, मैं 10 फ्रेंचाइजी की जगह 20 फ्रेंचाइजी भी लगा सकता हूँ इफ आई गेट सम इन्वेस्टर who can allocate 1 more CR to me, right? Simple example. The funds received must be allocated properly. In incorrect allocation and misutilization can lead to downfall of many business. For example, मैंने 20 फ्रेंचाइजी शुरू करना है, मेरे को 1 CR का फंडिंग बैंक से मिला है. I have received 1 CR from a venture capitalist. Instead of using those 1 CR which I have received from my investor, I buy a Mercedes. Okay, नहीं कैसे मैं बोल सकता हूँ यार फ्रेंचाइजी 10 शुरू है, वो उसको रन होने देते हैं, 1 CR जो बैंक में हमारे पड़ा है वो 1-2 महीने के बाद स्टार्ट करते हैं उसका अगले नेक्स्ट 10 का फ्रेंचाइजी। बट इन मिड 1 मंथ आई फील अरे 1 CR पड़ा ही है, क्या करें, थोड़ा शेयर्स में अलोकेट कर देते हैं, एक LIC का या फिर किसी का IPO है उसमें अलोकेट कर देते हैं, 700 का 800 हो जाएगा, आई विल इजीली मेक प्रॉफिट्स 1 CR का 1 CR 10 लाख 1 CR 20 lakhs हो जाएगा, and when then we will start our next 10 franchises. So misutilization, this is a common misutilization. If I buy a car out of that 1 CR, that is a misutilization. Ill allocation, incorrect allocation. LIC का IPO हमने देखा है. I'm not just taking LIC example, but any shares if you invest today at 100 rupees, if it falls to 80 rupees, you are making a practical loss of 20 rupees when you require funds, and that investor will also ask you, 2 महीने में पैसा है ना आपके पास, आप कब शुरू करना है आपका काम, and that time you are less with 20 rupees per share and you are at a loss. So this misutilization is the biggest disadvantage. Types of fundings, as I've explained it over the course of the lecture. पर्सनल इन्वेस्टमेंट, दोस्त लोगों से लो, आप खुद से इन्वेस्ट करो, फैमिली फ्रेंड्स से लो, क्राउड फंडिंग करो. You collect 10 friends, each one contributes 1 lakh rupees, you get 10 lakh rupees and you start a vada pav cafe, sandwich का cafe. क्राउड फंडिंग उसे बोलते हैं. Angel investors, venture capitalists, as I said, I need to establish 10 more franchisees. I get a investor who is ready to invest 10 lakh, 1 CR into it. This is called angel investors or venture capitalists. Bank loan, debt financing, which we call equity financing, small funding from business, which we can say equity financing. होते हैं venture capitalists जो बोलते हैं वो आपके बिजनेस में से थोड़ा परसेंटेज का शेयर उठाता है, and later on when after 5 years when your business has grown, he gets his own profits. So these are the types of funding which you can do for your startup. So yes, we are here with the end of the lecture, we can say. These types of startups are the types of startups which you can form in India. Startup शुरू करने से पहले, as I said, planning is most important. Very, very important is planning. Then comes the operations part, as आप business कैसे run कर रहे हो. Then comes the funding part, where you want to expand your business and you approach banks or other investors. They give you the money. आपके see, running a vada pav stall ठेला with 100 vada pavs in one day is pretty easy. But running a cafe with 1000 vada pavs and 500 sandwiches is very difficult. See the proportion, if when it increases, na, it brings you some other difficult situation. It brings you new problems. So that needs to be also considered before taking the funding. Okay, and once the operations are running perfectly, then you can expand and sky's the limit. So if anyone wants to start up a business, all the best to them. For any guidance related thing, you can call me anytime. Once again, I would like to thank MMCOE for inviting me. Vijay sir, thank you sir.
Yes, sir. Sir, just we will take some
yes,
questions.
You can
Questions.
go for the
Students, faculty members. So if you want to start any startup or any friend is asking any question, or even students can ask any questions to you, then you whatever questions with you, you can ask to sir, so that we'll get it clear. Anybody? Just sir, one question till I will ask you.
Yes.
Just recently, before 4-5 days, there was one news in the Times of India, SPPU to provide rupees 5 crore seed funding to deserving startups. Okay. And they have mentioned only startups registered under DIP matlab Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion.
Correct.
Can only apply for this fund. So that means who can apply for this? Just give some explanation.
Under DIPP, as per my understanding, private limited firms, LLP and a partnership firm can only apply for DIPP registration. So you need to form such entity, and then you can take the DIPP Startup India registration. Once that you have received the registration certificate, you can apply for the respective funding opportunities.
This proprietorship is not allowed or what?
Proprietorship is not allowed in a DIPP thing.
Okay, that is another thing.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Students, any other friend, anyone want to ask any question? Please raise your hands, or you can put in the chat box also. Ramesh sir. Ramesh. Or any faculty, anyone want to ask any question, just ask. Okay. So if any questions are there in the chat box or not? Okay, no.
You can call my number anytime if you have any questions.
Yes, sir. We will take a screenshot. Just
Yes, sir.
those are available, and possible we can suggest to start your camera. I will take a screenshot so that I can have a photo also. Just. Okay, just wait. Okay, I have taken the screenshot. Okay, just wait because your cameras are starting just step by step. Just wait. Okay. So any questions are there, you can ask till sir is available. And just I will mention Swacchand Gokhale sir is also one of the mentor for our MMC III center, our center. So if you have any query, you can contact to me or even Swacchand Gokhale sir also, so that we can connect and you can start whatever your queries are there regarding the startups or any LLP or private firms or any sole proprietorship, etc. So for any reason you want to ask any question, you can directly raise to me or even sir also. So thank you very much, sir. Gokhale sir, you have given insight into the startups. Many points you have highlighted here, how to start company, what are the live examples you have shared, and definitely our students as well as faculty members will take this information and will share with the students so that students will benefit from these workshops. So thank you IIC for sponsoring this lecture. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, we'll stop here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, participants. Okay, so we'll stop here.